Well, you join me today on Salisbury Plain again, which is fantastic. And July weather, I've got my winter coat on, my hat and my jumper. It's quite a cold day. And what brings me up onto the plain today? Well, I've come to look at a place because I've been looking at maps after mine and Dino's trip up here the other day, and I noticed a place called Oram's Grave. Well, I'm not far from Chitterne, the village, and we're walking down here to find an intersection in the path where, looking at the maps, it's a bit confusing. It's either off to the left or off to the right is an earthwork called Oram's Grave. And the earthwork is very interesting and has a very interesting history indeed. So there's the path leading up over the field on this side, on the right side as you come down from where I parked. And that carries on up towards Codford. And just looking here, there's a ditch on this side. And a slight load of bushes and things here. So truly amazing. I've come in off this path here, and we've got this clump of bushes here. You can see definitely goes up. So is an earthwork of sorts. So more than likely, I think could be either side of the road, but so it's a bit of a false monomer there in that it looked a bit like it was an earthwork. The closer you get to it, you find it's just all bracken and it's just basically stuff which has been pulled out of the ditch and chucked on there. So I don't think that that's the one. I think it's on the other side where the ground splits. So we'll go there. So now I go back and look at the maps, and the LiDAR image shows me nothing at all really apart from the track that goes on down. Then the 1800 map shows Oram's Grave on there to the left of that, and then to the right on the next image here. So I concentrated on this 1800 map, and then we see it on the right here with the site of and the X there, so that really helps me now. So then I decide, well, what can I do? So I go on to Google Earth and have a look and see that, and then I overlay an image onto that of the map as well, which gives me the approximate location, and then I go round the actual image itself and highlight the earthwork as far as I can see it is, and the X marks the spot. So I think that's where it is. I'm absolutely sure now that, rechecking my maps, it's to the left of the road, just across from the path there where that bush is. And if you wonder about the crunch, I think I just stood on a snail, which is rather unfortunate. Well, I've come into the field now, and looking at the maps, I'm sure where these two bushes are here that you can see in front of us, that there's a slightly raised bit of earth there, and that is Oram's Grave. So let's tell you a bit about the history of it, I think. So with the weedy, brambly grave here behind me, it's that of James Oram, who unfortunately was unlucky in love and decided to take his own life by hanging. He could not be buried in the village because he'd taken his own life, so he's buried outside of the boundary of the village, and this was just outside of the boundary of Chitterne, so the people of the village here buried him here. And the unusual part about the burial too is that they actually put a stake through his body, hammered a stake through his body as well after he was buried. Then things go reasonably quiet, and then what happened in 1797, Elizabeth White was coming from Sarum, and she witnessed a suicide victim being buried, which was after James, obviously. So it was used, possibly used, for other suicide victims of the parish as well. So a sad history, but great to come and see. And another strange thought I had is, if this is Oram's grave, which I think it is, looking at the maps, and you can see the earth splitting via the ditch there, and this sort of a lump in the middle there, is that if one of the stakes was put through the body, actually grew into one of these bushes you can see here. Does make you think, doesn't it? So we've had a look at Oram's grave. Very sad tale, but totally enjoyable to come and see it. Absolutely brilliant. So until the next time, goodbye.
Our hearts beat to the city streets. We began to feel the fire. We rise like tall buildings as the chemicals, they take us higher. The night's young, it has just begun as she puts her hand